Follow is what happens when a background character wants to become the hero. While only a supporter and by all definitions the epitome of forgettable, Follo aims to break this mold. It's then he's given an arc filled with tragedy, a tear-jerking backstory, and moments that make you root for him harder than Rudo, the main character. By now, in the recent chapters of Gachiakuta, he has by all definitions become that hero. Supporters as a concept and therefore Follo are introduced in chapter 8. Rudo asks about them to learn they support the team even though they aren't givers. Whether it's wrecking a beast's exoskeleton, recon work, or by being on standby, they assist a lot. During the next Trash Beast battle, Rudo jumps in to save one of them, a boy with a hammer, this being Follo, our hero of today's video. While this battle doesn't go well for Rudo, him struggling with his powers, this action meant a great deal to Follo, as we later learn through Gris, another supporter. Later down the line, Rudo is feeling down. Gris sitting next to him to thank him. Most look down on supporters at first because they have no powers. Yet Rudo jumped in to save Follo, a boy who just wanted to rid the world of trash beasts. Gris goes on to reveal Follo's dream. He's holding on to a precious object to become a giver. Also, he can beat the beasts and show supporters are far from useless. Gris states Follo's dream to say there's something Rudo must want to do. He needs to remind himself of that, and from there the rest should come to him. Ending the talk by saying he was dropped on the ground, but lived. That speaks for itself. This not only makes supporters respectable to Rudo, but to us, this establishes supporters as hardworking even without vital instruments. Especially Follo, who goes on to appear a plethora of times. While I'm not going to go out of my way to point out each one of these little appearances, as in many of them he doesn't even speak, he appears and has clearly been hard at work, though he is very much in the background. It is until nearly 100 chapters later something big happens involving Follo. Upon Rudo chasing after the info broker, he's left with Follo ready to make a big move. Follo stating he'd like Rudo to let him try and help. He's a supporter and part of the cleaners too. The two of them confront the broker, him holding some sort of box in his hands as he thinks to himself that they need to play along. The info broker Kuro knows his rules were clear. Rudo has to be the one to catch him to get the info. So he runs towards Follo when he's punched. It's Rudo in disguise. Him and Follo had swapped clothes and completely fooled Kuro. Rudo then falls to the ground, his hands in immense pain due to the loss of his gloves. He recalls the words about his gloves' powers driving people insane, looking over and watching Follo go mad. Just by putting on a piece of the Watchmen series, Follo is hyperventilating, feeling reality slip his fingertips, and their power eating away at his mind. Rudo then saves them, taking back his gloves and avoiding Follo's questions. The trash beast they've been avoiding then attacks, Follo narrowly avoiding it as Rudo realizes they'll have to beat this thing. It's not just gonna go away. It's then Kuro speaks, asking Rudo to use the box he's been holding. While it seems off topic, this is important to Follo, as he is insistent Rudo can't trust the info broker. He even goes as far as offering up his hammer, the object he's been making into an instrument. This is how much he didn't trust him, but also how much he wanted to support Rudo and appear as valuable. The box business ends up working out just fine, and back at Cleaner HQ, Follo is feeling a bit down about it all and bringing Rudo new clothes to make up for it. When they swapped clothes, Follo had ruined Rudo's, but it wasn't just that. The situation as a whole was upsetting him. Follo didn't trust the broker and went as far as suggesting his hammer. Yet the second he imagined it, right after Rudo had trusted him with his gloves, his vital instrument, he saw Rudo as a monster. He was fearful and didn't want Rudo to break his hammer. This is fair though. These objects are very precious to their users. Being scared is very understandable. But considering Rudo had treated him fair, he had let him use his vital instrument, he doesn't want to think that way about him. Regardless, the uniform is a way to make up to himself, and so when Rudo denies it because he likes to fix up old things, like his uniform, this really messes with Follo. He had went out of his way to ask August for a spare, bothering him while working. Rudo pushing him away does nothing but remind him of that annoyance, the same annoyance he's faced because supporters are considered lesser. It all culminates in this moment, a rage-fueled action where Follo throws the clothes to the floor. Yet Follo stares at the clothes now on the floor. Realizing acting like this isn't gonna solve anything, he walks to Rudo's room to deliver them anyways. Rudo can't be mad about having extras, and when he doesn't open the door, he goes in and notices Rudo's room. This somehow deeply bothering him. You'll understand later. A new mission then begins, Rudo and Follo yet again ending up together. The purpose of this mission is to support Rudo, make him more of a proper cleaner, and so it's Rudo's time to shine. But upon speaking to their client, Rudo's smiles, speaking, just people skills, well, they suck. Follo then steps in, always trying to learn and be the best cleaner supporter possible, ready to become a giver. He gives Rudo a perfect example of how to interact with clients, before walking away stating it's what supporters are for. After all, he isn't good enough to beat trash beasts. They all walk into the village and under Tamsi's guidance, Rudo works tirelessly to destroy the trash beasts. Follo watches it all. Rudo uses his net to cut open a path. Then, with the trash beast broken up, Tamsi catches everything. Despite it being his first job, Rudo has the power to charge in, no distractions. Yet Follo's following them behind, feeling nothing but disparity. The trash beasts keep coming though. They aren't destroyed by instruments, meaning they're part of a larger body somewhere. Rudo spots a strange creature emerging from a house in the background, him concluding it's the main body and readying a hairdryer as a weapon, turning it into a cannon and firing, hopefully destroying the beast. Tamsi then steps in to remind Rudo it might not be over and to guide him, though more importantly, Follo listens with ambition. If Rudo has what he doesn't, then he just has to reach out and get it. He gathers the courage to ask Rudo the secret to being a giver. The trash beast then gets up, rushing at him as Follo puts together the main beast, the one with the core, must be inside of the house. He steps inside and realizes something is already wrong, and with one wrong step, the house comes to life and he's thrown back. The entire house is the main body. Tamsi thanks Follo for the help, him amped up with these words from a giver, yet Rudo jumps in front of him and asks him to stay back. He'll blow the house down. Now this makes sense. Follo just took a heavy hit and Rudo is about to fire a cannon. Of course, staying back is right, yet Follo takes this hard. He stands up with a crazed expression. Excuse me? What is that supposed to mean? Follo explains how he had thought Rudo was different, that Rudo didn't disregard the cleaner's supporters like most people. He made compromises, admitted his mistakes, and even asked Rudo for help. But Rudo will never understand. Rudo realizes that now's not the time. Yet again, he asks him to stay back. Follo yelling in response. So what if he's not a giver? That doesn't mean he can't fight at all. He's tired of being a tag-along, tired of smiling through his inferiority complex, and tired of people like Rudo getting a big head and looking down at him. Rudo then turns around. When did he get a big head? When has he ever looked down on anybody? Follo responds that he's not delusional, that Rudo just needs to remember how he's been treating him. Maybe he needs to learn about how to read people. Rudo needs to realize that whenever he makes a mess, somebody else has to clean it up. This pushes Rudo over the edge. What could Follo know about him and his past? Follo goes on to recite everything about Rudo, dramatizing it and emphasizing how special Rudo is, before saying he doesn't give a damn. His tragic backstory doesn't give him the right to talk crap of those who've lived a normal life. Finally saying Rudo is using his misery as a shield. Finally, Rudo yells back. Follo is the one using his life as a shield to lash out. With this, Follo cracks, punching Rudo straight in the face. Gris pulls Follo away as the anger grows inside both of them. They need to knock it off. Yet Follo pushes Rudo more and more. He wouldn't understand anything, a reality where he has nothing, If Rudo has such amazing powers, then use them to go to the spear and get out of here. Rudo is done. He's putting his fist to Follo's face, and as he gathers all of his strength, the trash beast stands up, revealing itself to indeed be the house, and their fight only allowed it to power up. Rudo is incredibly angry yet turns his back to Follo. He's Rudo the cleaner. The trash beast comes first, leading Follo to sit there upset. Things only became this way. The trash beast is only strong. There's only tension because of him. As the trash beast attacks, Follo shouts to Rudo. He's sorry, promising he won't mess up next time. The trash beast charges at him, and despite his hammer, it hits him full force, sending him flying off the cliff bloodied and with the hole in his side, all but dead. Follo looks down at the blood, the warmth sending him into a backstory. He views himself as younger, as a kid with a girl, excited to see her. Yet when another boy comes along, the girl follows him instead. Follo could only think, what can he do to be that cool? That same boy one day showed Follo a hammer, declaring that he got it in the polluted zone. And even though seriously dangerous, death being a common thing, he ventured out and was thankfully saved by the cleaners. He explains them in the idea of givers. The boy inspired by them as he declares he'll be a giver and join the cleaners. Follo could only look at this and yet again say, how can he be that cool? How can he reach that level? How can he be that awesome? Years pass and a familiar scene unfolds. Follo and the girl, though now he realizes she only comes around for the other guy, and now the other guy's nowhere to be seen. It's then an alarm blares out. A trash beast is attacking, yet Follo only runs towards the danger upon hearing of the circumstance. Someone is fighting it, someone with the long-handled weapon. He can only think of the boy and his hammer as he stares down, but it's a younger Zanka. With no effort and despite the cold, Zanka handles the trash beast, smashing it up and severing its head clean off, engine emerging to clap, revealing Zanka just joined as a full-fledged cleaner. It's a very sweet scene, but we're kinda off track. Back to Follo. He's very mixed. He seems relieved that it wasn't the boy, but he also wants to know what that boy is doing now, though he also doesn't want to know. He thinks that if he saw him again, seeing how far he'd gotten, he'd only realize that he's better than him. It's because the boy is now gone that he doesn't have to panic, but he also realizes that he's very dependent on that sense of relief. Though Follo then finds a sense of courage. He's encouraged him and nothing will change by sitting around. He has a goal. He wants to be better than that boy. But we then turn the page to see the boys become nothing. A shut-in struck down by the world. He tells Follo to go away. When you're part of the faceless mob, you'll never be a giver even if you try. He has given up in every way. He states the spark in Follo's eyes made him feel like he was falling behind. They hadn't seen each other, but he wasn't free of Follo's judgment. He tells Follo to get lost, take his hammer, become a cleaner, and get lost. It would seem that seeing Rudo's room be similar reminded Follo of this moment. If it wasn't clear, Follo is a very jealous person. He compares himself way too hard to others, not realizing that everyone has their own path. And so even though he tries to say otherwise, it's likely Follo in this moment felt like he had won, that he had won over this boy and was gonna be the one out of the two that became something. So seeing Rudo's room be so similar, seeing that he lives in a similar predicament, well, he felt like he had lost, like he had never won. It's one of the big reasons why his feelings for Rudo probably built up so heavily. Follo returns to the present and opens his eyes, holding the hammer as he states he just wanted to be a good rival. He wanted to show that nobody's like them could be somebody, and he wanted to prove it together. Rudo dashes down to Follo as he tells himself he won't let their hammer end his junk. He wants Rudo to use it as an instrument. Going back to the past, Follo dashed away upon hearing the boy's words. He didn't know why he did it. Was it to make their dream come true? No, the answer was simple. He just didn't want to become that guy. He begged to join the cleaners, worked odd jobs for them, and held everything in. No matter what, his emotions couldn't explode, In Folo's mind, if he ever exploded, he'd become the other guy. But now he realizes what he's become is even more pathetic. Rudo listens as Folo begs him to transform his hammer. Rudo seeing him dying in front of him as Regto. Though Rudo ignores the hammer, he knows Folo is lying, saying if he's gonna blow up at people, do it all the way. Rudo asks, Folo, what does your heart want? Folo goes back to that moment where he entered Rudo's room. Despite it being trashy like the boy from his backstory, Rudo was very awesome. Rudo is awesome to Folo. He's jealous. He wanted to prove he could be more than the faceless mob. He wants to be a cool guy. It can't end here. Rudo yells for him to get up and the ground erupts, both of them jumping to the surface as Folo's hammer transforms into a full-fledged vital instrument. Folo isn't done yet. Folo's small hammer has become stronger than ever, it engraved with his name to show no doubt. Rudo confronted him and made him into who he wants to be. Now he can fight at his side. Rudo states it wasn't him at all. It was Folo's own passion. All Rudo did was believe he could do it. Together, they stand as the trash beast fires a blast of energy. Folo slamming his hammer down to eat away the strike, the hammer working as a shield. Folo walks forward with his hammer, eyes filled with determination. He spent his whole life worrying what others think. He didn't want to be the other guy, so he held everything in. He made excuses, and now he knows he's nothing short of an idiot. That guy was an excuse to run away from things that would upset him. Now he's done with that. Folo won't run anymore. Vital instruments are based on you and what you've done, and Folo knows it all. He knows how to use his new instrument. He holds the stress in, the power he absorbs, using it as a shield till it builds up. And when it's full, he blows up all the way. Folo names the hammer Allen as he strikes with a destructive blow, cracking the sky as he nukes the trash beast, ending it in one single huge shot. Smoke clears as Folo falls, Rudo coming up and listing the great things he did, finally saying, Folo was awesome. Rudo states he sucks at seeing small details, so for now on Folo has to speak up before he explodes. They fist bump and all is solved, a beautiful friendship beginning to form. Tamsi then walks up to ask why Rudo didn't use his powers again, him revealing he couldn't, the assumption being his last use was on Folo himself. They all panic before we cut to Samiu checking him out. Thankfully, Folo is okay, and he was not weaponized by Rudo. That would have been horrible, and the way they explain it is kinda confusing. Basically, Rudo did use his powers on Folo. He used his last use on Folo, just not in that way. The simplest explanation is that Folo was a piece of dynamite with a long fuse, and Rudo simply sped that fuse up. Folo finally becoming a giver was all him. Folo is then healed but opts to keep the scars. They're reminders of his failure and a reminder of how happy he is to be a giver. This way he can never forget. He looks to Rudo. While he doesn't really get how he made him a giver, Rudo helped him in some way, and so he'll never forget that. He'll always be there for him. Folo puts his hand out, making it official that they're friends and clearing a spot on Rudo's to-do list. Which I gotta say, what a perfect resolution. Engine then takes a scolding Folo and Rudo for their ridiculous fight. It's a silly scene, Engine calling them babies, but thankfully they clear up every misunderstanding before Folo is invited to join Engine's group. Yet Folo tries to say he's staying a supporter. And while it's for noble reasons, he's a supporter that wants to prove the supporters are great, August already made him a giver uniform, and it looks amazing. So yeah, you can't change your mind now, Folo. Plus, the other supporters are more than happy to see him grow. They want this for him. His label doesn't matter. They know Folo will always be Folo. Like that, Folo becomes the hero he dreamt of being, going from a character introduced by being saved to one wielding his own instrument to defend his teammates. His story is one of many emotions: jealousy, sadness, yet hope. Things I think anyone can relate to. At one point, any one of us have felt negative and let that stress build up, holding it in till it explodes in a way that has only hurt ourselves. It's this very fact that makes Follo so lovable. He's relatable. Everyone, and I mean everyone, if you try and say you haven't, then you're lying, everyone has been where Follo was at one point or the other. In retrospect, it's kind of funny to think about Follo as a whole. His outburst against Rudo was completely uncalled for. Everything he had said was a reflection of himself in one way or the other. He thought of his past, realizing while he told himself he wanted to prove something, in reality he was running away. Finally, when he was about to die, he sat there and lied, trying to sound like heroic before anything else. All this in mind, Follo has become a fan favorite of Gachiakuta readers. His arc putting this character that never appeared in anything other than the background right alongside the big shots of the series. And it's all because he faced himself in a very human way. The fact that a character like that could become a fan favorite is quite beautiful, and like many other characters, he's a great testament to Urana's writing. How she can take such simple ideas like jealousy and transform them into something infinitely deep and enjoyable. I gotta say, reading the series weekly, Follo was definitely a character I was pretty upset with. I thought he was going to be acting like a brat and that would be it. But, well, I should have just trusted in Urana. He ended up as a pretty perfect character. And I gotta say, without a doubt, he will play a huge part in the rest of the series. He now has those scars for a reason. Though whether it'll be the doll festival or what comes after, we have no idea. I do know though, whatever it is, he'll stand strong, proving himself to be the cool guy he always wanted to be. But thank you so much for watching, and I hope you'll watch the huge Gachiakuta video coming soon. Hopefully a couple days right after this upload. See you next time.